Welcome back to Taja's Garden. I'm the gardening realtor. If you're new here, I'm glad you're here, and if you're returning, welcome back. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Lataja Roll. I'm actually a real life real estate agent. I'm licensed here in the state of Oklahoma. So if you're looking for real estate help, I can definitely help you there. But if you're looking for gardening help, you are in the right spot. So on this channel, I talk all things gardening, and this year, things are gonna look a lot different. Not because I've had terrible success or anything, but because my intentions are different this year, and we're going to talk about that. So I want to tell you guys 7 things that I'm doing differently this year in my garden. So the biggest thing that I'm doing differently this year is probably just being more and more intentional with gardening. So if you don't know, I started gardening a couple of years ago after going through major postpartum depression, and gardening just really started as something therapeutic for me. Not that it wasn't, you know, like intentional then, because it definitely was. I was growing things, but I didn't have the mindset that I do now. I think back then I kind of also shocked myself with how much I could actually do in gardening, and it just grew and grew from there. So I started gardening for therapy, and then I started teaching people how to garden, and then I started noticing how much I can really grow and save money, and then I fell in love with it, and I can't see myself without gardening now. Like, that's just the reality. I literally cannot see a time where I'm not gardening unless I just physically can't. So because of this, I am going to be not only looking at gardening as something fun to do, but looking at it as a way to figure out how to be more and more sustainable and self-sufficient, where I don't have to make as many trips to the grocery store. So this year, I'm not going to be making lists on what is fun to grow or what is easy to grow, but I'm going to be making lists on what I'm actually spending money on in the grocery store. Like fruit, for example. What types of fruits can I actually grow at home that I'm actually spending a lot of money on at the store? I'm going to be making these lists with more intention. I'm also going to be trying out different types of foods. For example, this year I'm going to be growing a couple of veggies from the Caribbean in my garden. I plan on doing different things like that every year. I want to incorporate some African veggies as well. I don't have any African veggie seeds yet, but I may be growing some for the fall. That is really pretty much the underlying change of this, is just being more and more intentional. And with that intentionality, I'm going to be growing more fruits. I absolutely love blueberry and strawberries, but I would love to also have peach trees or lemon trees, orange trees. I would love to have fruit trees. Me being in Oklahoma, it is going to be tough to grow it, but I'm not letting that stop me anymore. I added 2 blueberry bushes last year. They didn't produce any fruit. This year, I'm told, will be the year where they produce fruit, and I'm actually thinking about adding 2 more, so I can have 4 in total. There are so many different types of blueberries. There are actually pink lemonade blueberries, which is pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to be incorporating different types of fruits that you can't just get at Walmart or, you know, your typical grocery store. So intentionality is definitely the major #1 step. The only thing that I might be going to the grocery store is for maybe a couple of seasonings, but I'm even trying to grow my own seasonings as well. I'm going to be adding more herbs to my garden this year, so I can like just play with mixing different herbs and creating my own seasonings. Being completely self-sustainable, it takes some time, of course, especially living in a world where we're so used to just getting everything ready-made at the store. So I know it's a process, and I'm definitely going to enjoy the process along the way. It's going to take a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, And I'm gonna be completely transparent with all of that so you guys can come along the ride with me. Fruit trees are an investment, so I'm definitely going to be adding that to my list. The next on the list is growing more potatoes. So I absolutely love potatoes. You can do so much with potatoes. There is a gardener online that a couple of years ago, he did kind of a little challenge to see if he can just survive on his garden for, I can't remember how long he did it, but it was a while, and potatoes was the main thing that kept him. I grow potatoes in buckets right now, and there's nothing wrong with growing potatoes in buckets, but it depends on your intention. So if you are looking to have, you know, just to grow for fun or just have a couple of potatoes for a meal or two, then buckets are fine. I actually grow them in 5-gallon buckets, and I actually grew like 5 or 6 different buckets, and I end up growing more and more every month. But the potatoes are small, mainly because of the space. They don't have a lot of space to actually get bigger. It's not the same having a ton of small potatoes versus a ton of big potatoes. And we're a family of 5, so I can't just keep, you know, relying on these little buckets. I'm gonna go out there and get one of those really big totes. I'm not growing potatoes in my raised beds because I don't want to have to dig them up, you know, and end up missing something, because potatoes are not a fun companion plant. So I'm going to be keeping the actual routine of me growing more potatoes every single month so that I always have some potatoes to harvest every month, but it'll be in bigger containers so that I'm harvesting more potatoes instead of just a bucket that I can use for a meal or two. Next up is taking advantage of the cooler season. So we talk about these different gardening seasons, but no one really thinks about the gardening season of early spring. Early spring is literally its own gardening season. I used to just treat early spring as a time for me to just amend my soil and just wait until the temperatures got warmer during the nighttime. But there are plants that you can actually go ahead and add to your garden during the early spring. And I'm actually going to start this towards the end of February. So I'm actually going to be putting out some brassica plants towards the end of February. And I know some of you are probably going to be like, that is ridiculous. But trust me, it's not. If you look at the weather in February, and I know everyone's going to talk about how the weather is not consistent. That's why you have frost cloths. Brassicas are cold tolerant. Lettuce is cold tolerant. There's a lot of vegetables out there that are cold tolerant. Carrots, cold tolerant. Peas, cold tolerant. So there are a lot of things that you can actually grow during this time, and it's so much sweeter, so much better, and so much easier to actually grow during this time before all of the pests start waking up and attacking your plants. So why not take advantage of it? So I am definitely going to be taking advantage of early spring. I'm so excited about trying early spring with my brassicas because I'm so tired of the cabbage moth, and it's like you can check the leaves every single day and you're still going to miss something. So it's annoying. I've already got some lettuce out there and they're doing wonderful. I've got carrots out there doing wonderful. My peas have already sprouted. So why not take advantage of early spring? It is less pests, less watering that you have to do. For one, it usually rains a lot in the spring, but even if it doesn't rain a lot where you are in the spring, the cooler temperature actually causes less evaporation, so you won't have to water as often. Next up, I'm going to be staying ahead of pest control. So I am not going to be procrastinating anymore. Last year I made that mistake and I won't do it again. So if you saw the video that I made on the harlequin bug, I had an infestation of harlequin bugs in my garden, and I ended up having to pull up my kale, my broccoli plants. It was a mess, and I ended up having to start my kale plants over, which I was disappointed in, but it all started from this. I had never seen a harlequin bug before. It was so cute at first, before I knew what it actually did, the destruction that it can cause. But it was so cute. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like a ladybug. And I know there's a lot of pests out there that has like a similar looking cousin that actually does good in your garden. And I wasn't sure if that was one of those things. I saw it, I ignored it, and it just ended up taking over. And it sucked all the sap out of my plants. My plants wasn't producing anymore. They laid eggs in the stem. I didn't even know they would do something like that. It was a lot. It was crazy. So this year, I'm definitely not going to be procrastinating on anything. If I see a new bug of any sorts, I'm doing my research ASAP. And I'm figuring out what that is. You cannot procrastinate. I also had an issue with cucumber beetles. Now, I tried my best to get rid of those, but they started attacking my okra as well. So cucumber beetles are kind of hard to, get rid of. So that brings me to my next thing. I'm going to be adding more insect netting to my garden. Usually I don't use insect netting, but this year I'm definitely going to start taking advantage of it. It is annoying to have to deal with all these different pests. You deal with one, then another one is doing something, and then you got to deal with something. It's just too much. So, insect netting is not going to bring your pest issues down to 0, but it will definitely bring it down from 100. And my last change this year in my garden is going to be adding more colors. So that's going to be my flowers and my other varieties of plants. So I'm going to bring more red lettuces in. I absolutely love ruby red lettuce. I grow that all the time, ruby red leaf lettuce. But I noticed they have a lot of different types of red cabbages. I'm not talking about your typical cabbage from the store, but there are different varieties like Napa cabbages. Me being a vegetarian as well, I understand that every vegetable has its benefits, and the color not only is beautiful, it's enriched in different vitamins. So I want that in my garden this year as well. This year I'm growing sunflowers, and I'm growing different types. So I saw there are so many different types of sunflowers out there. I'm going to be saving the seeds. I'm going to give them away to family and friends. I'm going to be making roasted sunflower seeds. I'm going to try to do so many things this year in my garden. I want to grow flowers so I can make my own arrangements. I used to go to the store every 2 weeks or every month and buy myself flowers, just different, types of flowers. So I think it'll be interesting for me to just grow them this year and just kind of experiment with the different types of flowers that you don't really see in the store. Plus, flowers bring in more pollinators, so that'll definitely be a benefit to my garden. So all in all, don't look at this as being harder on yourself, but this is all about being smarter. So we're becoming more intentional this year. We're going to grow things that really matter, things we really eat. We're going to try to make less trips to the grocery store, and I want to hear all about your stories. We're building a garden that actually supports our life this year and not just looks good on the outside. Let me know down in the comments what you're doing different this year in your garden. I would love to know if we have the same or similar ideas on what we're growing. What are you growing this year that I am not growing? Are you adding other cultural veggies and fruits in your garden? Let me know what kind. Like, comment, and share this with a friend. And if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you want to be part of an amazing gardening community on Facebook, head on over to Facebook, type in Prosper and Plant, and I'll see you over there.